And KELY Ely, K253CJ Ely, we go to the White Pine County Commission meeting now.
It's 2026. We will start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America and to the Republic for one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we'll have a moment of silence.
And a reminder, the White Pine County Commission meeting is being brought to you live. KELY has no earthly idea what these people are going to talk about, so understand that as you listen.
Thank you. We'll start with the first round of public comment. Is there any public comment in the room? Please state your name for the record.
George Stafford for the record, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, on your agenda item 281 regarding Ampere Solar and the White Pine Solar Project, I have not seen any trees planted along the perimeter of their proposed project. The proposed 10-foot trees will probably need a drip line for water supply initially, and I've not heard what type of species are being proposed and planted. Have you been given any information? I'm asking for county residents that are concerned. Chair, on your agenda item 2B1, I remind you your housing project on 17th Street has not been completed. There is no water and sewer hookup to the different lots. There's a lack of curb gutter and sidewalk. No paved asphalt street is mandated by the city code, only a non-compliant chip seal. There is improper drainage, and the first 4 feet behind the curb and gutter must be concrete, not rock riprap, to allow handicap access which is mandated to comply with federal ADA regulations. What happened to the performance bond for the 17th Street housing project? Where's the $500,000? Who addresses non-compliance? Chair, on your July 22nd, 2026 meeting, I brought up concerns regarding the changes effective July 1, 2026 for NRS 278.150, 0.160, and 0.257 pertaining to the master plan. Where did all these regulations come from? Who proposed them? I was given the NRSs in a RPC meeting with no explanation. Were the NRSs formulated in an open meeting, and by who? Does the commission have a secret committee by chance? I want to remind you today, none of the items I reported to your county commission meetings have been addressed as compliant with NRS, county, or city code. Regulations pertain to everybody, or they pertain to nobody. Madam Chair, the commission is yet to address an nepotism issue concern that is taking place, and continues to this date at the Tour and Rec Board. I have given the district attorney as well as the county commission a consanguinity chart and opinion from a former DA, as well as news articles reporting the same concern. Chair, the commission has yet to put the Heritage Park project on the election ballot. The county and the city have enough parks now, and they get limited use. How many $1 million baseball fields is a taxpayer required to maintain? We need housing, not a predator's park. National studies clearly state one must not build parks or schools near a truck stop. You need to listen. You need to learn about that. Madam Chair, to date, nothing's been done on the Ramsey property at 582 North Highway 93 or 80 East 93rd Street north of the Green property. They're within 400 feet of sewer and water hookup. Haven't connected to my knowledge yet. No fire extinguisher, fire hydrant. We have rules and regulations everybody needs to adhere to.
Thank you, Mr. Chachis. That's your 3 minutes.
I'd like to get some
Is there any further comment from the public in this room?
Chairman, I have a comment to read into the record. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You mind?
Yes. No.
Okay, I'll be quick. Good morning, commissioners. For the record, my name is Jason Hutchins, IT director. I'm speaking today to provide comments regarding the proposed use of county property and county premise policy and why certain adjustments are necessary to ensure it supports essential county operations and most importantly, protects public safety. The IT director's job description requires the IT department to support agencies that operate 24 hours, 7 days a week. It specifically mandates availability to respond to severity 1 emergencies whenever they occur. These emergencies include outages affecting law enforcement, fire, EMS, dispatch, and other critical technology systems that are functional to provide public safety operations. Some portions of the proposed policy as currently drafted create operational challenges for fulfilling those responsibilities. For example, the policy limits where county vehicles may be stored outside working hours. Because IT emergencies can occur at any time and often require immediate response, this proposed language would unintentionally delay the department's ability to restore critical services. When public safety systems go down, every minute matters. The sheriff's office, fire district, EMS, and dispatch all depend on uninterrupted technology services to respond effectively to emergencies. As any restriction that slows IT's ability to restore these systems increases operational risk and directly impacts the safety of our residents, visitors, and first responders. For those reasons, I respectfully request that the board consider adjustments that allow for timely emergency response while still maintaining appropriate safeguards for county property. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do you have public comment to read? We would like to respectfully express our concerns regarding the proposed changes to White Pine County's personal appearance and dress code, particularly the restrictions regarding tattoos, piercings, hair color, and personal appearance. We completely understand and support the county having reasonable standards requiring employees to come to work clean, neat, appropriately dressed, and professional. Employees representing White Pine County should absolutely be held to a professional standard. However, we believe there is an important difference between establishing professional standards and requiring employees to change or conceal parts of their personal appearance that have no effect on their ability to perform their jobs. The proposed policy states that tattoos must be small or covered at all times and may not be offensive in nature. We fully agree that offensive, discriminatory, obscene, or otherwise inappropriate tattoos should not be displayed in the workplace. However, we do not understand the purpose of requiring a tattoo to be small or simply covered because it is a tattoo. Many White Pine County employees have tattoos. More than 50% of the staff at the White Pine County Library has tattoos. These tattoos do not prevent us from performing our jobs professionally, assisting the public, working with coworkers, or representing the county appropriately. A large tattoo is not automatically unprofessional simply because of its size. We have similar concerns regarding the restrictions on piercings and the requirement that hair remain one color of a natural tone. These standards appear to regulate personal style rather than workplace conduct or job performance. White Pine County employs people of different ages, backgrounds, generations, and personal styles. What one individual considers professional based on personal preference may be very different from what another individual considers professional. That is why we believe county policy should focus on objective workplace standards rather than individual preferences regarding appearance. If an employee is wearing clothing that is revealing, unsafe, offensive, dirty, or inappropriate for their position, that should absolutely be addressed. Likewise, if a tattoo, piercing, hairstyle, or other aspect of an employee's appearance creates a legitimate safety concern or contains offensive material, the county should have the ability to address that specific situation. However, asking otherwise professional employees to cover non-offensive tattoos, remove ordinary piercings, or change their hair simply to meet one particular standard of appearance feels unnecessarily restrictive. We are also concerned about employee morale and the message this sends to current and future county employees. We should want qualified, hardworking people to work for White Pine County. An employee's work ethic, professionalism, treatment of the public, reliability, and ability to perform their job should carry significantly more weight than whether they have a visible tattoo, colored hair, or piercings. We respectfully ask that the commissioners to consider revising this policy so that it establishes reasonable standards without unnecessarily restricting employees' personal expression. For example, rather than requiring tattoos to be small or covered, the policy should simply prohibit that tattoos are obscene, discriminatory, threatening, sexually explicit, or otherwise reasonably inappropriate for the workplace. Similar, reasonable standards could be used for piercings and hair, with additional restrictions when there is a legitimate safety requirement associated with a particular position. I ran out of time, but this is from the staff at the White Pine County Library.
Is there any further public comment in the room? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask, is there any public comment on Teams? If so, please raise your hand. Oh, I see MR. MR, go ahead and unmute.
Hello, my name is Matthias Risky. For the record, I'm speaking as a citizen of White Pine County about item 3C2B of the employee dress code. I'm not against the idea of a dress code for county employees, but having over an entire page is excessive. The first paragraph should be sufficient for the administration of intelligent adults. If a more specific appearance is wanted, a line stating smart casual or business casual should be sufficient. I do not believe that this policy is well written and shows a clear bias against certain types of employees. It's oddly specific in some ways and deliberately vague in others. For example, there's 5 or 6 types of appropriate shirt wear, but only one type of shoes permitted. If the county's going to require all office staff to wear loafers, are they going to provide a uniform stipend to allow those employees to purchase them? A small tattoo is open for interpretation. Some people might consider 1 inch. Some people might say, 5 or 6 inches is still small. The item saying hair must be one natural color. Are we going to discriminate employees for aging and going gray? If termination is going to be on the table for people's appearance, that is exactly the type of tool that a supervisor acting unethically could use to eliminate employees that they do not like, causing potential legal issues and a waste of taxpayer funds. It does not appear that this was sent to the Employee Safety Committee or any of the unions that represent county employees. Please table this item until these issues can be clarified and appropriate employee feedback is gathered. Thank you.
Okay. TM, you have your hand raised. Go ahead, please. TM, go ahead. You have your hand raised, TM.
I'm going to be waiting because there's someone in front of him.
Oh, there's someone, okay. Sorry, there's someone in front of you. Okay, who is that? Can you guys see a name on that person?
It's just a face.
Okay.
The guy with the video on,
Okay.
Yeah, that should unmute.
All right. I guess the gentleman in the video is ahead of you, so go ahead, sir. Please state your name for the record.
unmute,
Oh,
unmute.
Mr. Winterhawk. Mr. Winterhawk, we cannot hear you. We cannot hear you.
It's unmuted, please.
You are unmuted, but we cannot hear you. Now you're muted. Now you are muted.
Is it working now? I apologize if we're having technical issues.
We can hear you, but it is really, just barely.
Turn up the volume.
Try and speak as close to the mic as you can.
Can you hear me now?
Barely.
Barely.
Wow, that's horrible. Well, I just wanted to say hi, and I hope you guys are doing well, and to thank you for all the service and support out there for the fires. I'm really worried about you guys. I've seen a lot of fires, And I see Tim out there working his butt off. So I just wanted to say hi, thanks, and that you're always in my thoughts and prayers. That's it. I love you guys. Bye.
Okay, thank you. And then we have TM. Go ahead and unmute TM. Is that Terry? We seem to have technical difficulties here with TM. Is ML now ahead of TM?
That was minute.
Okay, that was them, so she still has his hand raised.
We just have to go on if we can.
I'm sorry, we'll have to go on if we can't solve these technical difficulties.
No one else up there.
No. Okay, TM, we cannot hear you, so we will move forward. You're free to submit your comments to the county clerk.
So he's the one that just went.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Okay,
No, TM is a
Oh, it's a different one that went. Just went.
yeah.
DM, if you can hear us, unmute your mic. Okay.
Okay.
I still can't. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move, I'm sorry, we're gonna move on with this meeting. And I want to say that we are pulling items to a, did you get? No?
That one's on.
We're going to pull items C, 2A, and B. And we will start with updates from commissioners. I am proud to announce that the county has been awarded $808,000 from the Pennington Foundation due to the work of our county assessor, and this is for the baseball field on Avenue M. So that is a great accomplishment, and thank you, Burton, for that. I hope that all the parents can appreciate the work you've done in achieving this. I had some meetings with the building department, as did Commissioner Robinson, and when we were talking about these items today on the agenda, so I won't go into it. I had a meeting, I went to the NACO Energy seminar, and that was very informative. They talked about power purchases, geothermal, battery energy storage systems, and also they had a gentleman who was from Nextera who talked about the safety of battery energy storage systems. There was a representative from NG who says that solar energy is now 95% recyclable and that wind is 100% recyclable. I don't have any further details than that, but that was very interesting to hear. I also had a phone conversation with the Wyoming commissioner who has an R+ project in that county, and that was very interesting. I attended NRAC, and I'll let Commissioner Robinson talk about that. That was the cross-tie presentation.
I'm gonna let Jose.
Okay, we'll let Jose talk about that. I attended the debrief on the Ward Mountain fire. And again, we want to thank all of the firefighters, all of the governmental agencies, the county agencies who participated in that successful, resolution in keeping the fire out of town. Had a meeting with our IT director regarding an IT outage we had on August 19th. It was 5 hours, and he had a lot of interesting information about that. I attended the ribbon cutting for Main Street with our district attorney. NDOT was there. Senator Rosen was there. We had considerable rain. It was a very interesting ribbon cutting, but everyone is very pleased to see what's happened downtown with Main Street. We appreciate the state and NDOT, Senator Rosen, everyone for that accomplishment. So, Senator Noriega, do you have a report?
Senator.
I mean,
Oh, oh, sure. And I apologize, I'm a little bit off my game today because of coming back from vacation. My computer got fried and isn't working right. And yeah, then my printer went down, so I don't have all my notes I normally have. So Natural Resource Advisory Committee meeting, I did attend that. There were some items on there that I was very interested in. There was a report out from the Center for Biological Diversity on some of the issues that are going forward and kind of what their approach is going to be to those issues. Report out from Cross Tie Project regarding the power line, which Cross Tie is the one that comes from Fillmore, Utah, over to Robinson Substation. That one has been approved. The NEPA is complete with both Forest Service and BLM. But because of funding related issues and stuff, there is a little bit of a delay and they're not currently starting construction on that project. It won't start for several years out on that project. And then reports out from Jeremy doing stuff on a number of other things.
Commissioner Robinson?
Okay, oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna start out with the hospital board meeting. And I get my report from Noah because in the meeting where I sit, I can't see or hear anything. So he writes this up for me, so we get everything correct. And number one, he said, thankfully for the community, we have had very low volumes in the clinic and hospital this summer. This will have a negative impact on the financials due to reduced volumes. That said, we are happy for the help of the community and will continue to be ready. Hospital has been approved with the state for various grants, 1.2 million for equipment and new technology, 850,000 for equipment and new for IT infrastructure updates. Sorry about that. My glasses kind of moved and I was looking at the wrong line. So to make that clear, 1.2 million for equipment and new technology, 850,000 for IT infrastructure updates, 1.6 million for recruitment, retention, education, and 1 million for outside support with data collection to benchmark quality of care, improve high quality of care given. If any areas fall short, then we can focus and fix issues. New MR is installed and running. State inspection went well, offering MRIs to those that don't have insurance or have a high deductible, and so on, at $499 with order from a provider. This will allow additional access to care for our community. Health fair will kick off this Saturday at 10 a.m. to 11 at the park next to the hospital. The health fair will be in the clinic with lots of information on health and wellness. And of course, you know, I have the flyers. I put these up all over. The only place I didn't get them up in was, what is it, whenever piece of brain, or I don't know how to get there. McGill? No, not McGill. I don't know how to get to McGill. What's the little city that's out in
Cherry Creek.
Cherry Creek. Cherry Creek is the only one I didn't put flyers up because I've never been to Cherry Creek and I didn't make it there, but you never know, I might today. And so that will be kicking off the run. And then on Saturday, everybody be sure to attend because the walk run is from 10 to 11 at the park next to the hospital. Yeah, I already said that. And cheap labs will be available for the month of September. Anyone can make an appointment for the labs and can pay for those just prior to blood draw. And approved moving forward with opening a clinic. I was excited about this, with a clinic in Goldfield, Nevada. That's Esmeralda County. This clinic will be funded through grant funds awarded to Esmeralda County. We will begin providing services in January of 2027. And that's all I have for the hospital report. And for the Regional Planning Committee, oh boy, they had so much. I won't be able to say all of it, but it was, for instance, like it was approved for a parcel map for Lemich family, trust to merge and subdivide parcels for estate planning, and the same for James Russell and Janelle Matthews Neuter to divide a parcel for estate planning, and another Chris Allen and Amy Marie Jensen merged and subdivided their parcels for estate planning. And Claude Rose, God bless his heart, the guy is 91. He spoke at public comment very clearly, and he has the Valley View RV park, and he was approved to expand. So, and then in Ruth, Kenzie, I can't read the last name, KELY to turn. I'll have to look that one up. My writing isn't so hot. And there, she's was asking to turn an existing building into an apartment, which, you know, we need those. And there were several. I mean, just several. It goes on and on. Right, Chris? Chris is sitting out there drinking his coffee, trying to wake up. And then that was about it, because it would take me forever to go through all of the things that they're doing. But it looks like we're going to be having, you know, some parcels to build houses on and stuff. And then I went to the city meeting, and to make it short, of course, I'd like to say Nevada Northern Railroad received a very prestigious reward. That was on the report that Mark Bassett announced. Don't ask me what the reward was, because I didn't get that. And Public Works Director Mike Craycraft, the building official Chris Flannery, and the Human Resource Director, how do you pronounce her name? Ramirez, or Ramerez. Ramirez. Okay, all received pay increases, and that's all I have to say for them. And I would also like to add, I attended the natural resource, but I saw Jose there, and I know he announced things much better than I do, since he was with
Forest Service.
Forest Service. I almost said state parks. And so, and I would suggest, if none of you have been out to the golf course, Cole and his seasonal workers are doing just a tremendous job out there. It improves every single day. And Kevin, our golf pro, go out and say hi to him. He is awesome. I mean, you know, the golf course is moving and grooving, and it's going to be back and it's just going to be wonderful. They're going to be writing about us, as far as I'm concerned. And don't forget to attend. It's coming up. I'm going to start early. The airport open house that will be October 10th. It's going to be really a lot of fun this year with, you know, and it'll be at the Ely Jet Center and the Ely Airport Yellen Field. They'll have Nellis Air Force safety team there. And there's no entry fee, free food, aircraft displays, and medical flights. And so everybody should try to attend that. It's really interesting once you get out there. And that's all I have.
Okay. I would also like to thank the firefighters and governmental agencies who have been working the last few days on the Cherry Creek fire. I ran into a gentleman from the Forest Service yesterday who said that there were 3 fires in Elko County, over 1,000 acres, and they had no more personnel to send there. So we were very fortunate that we had the support in this county for the Ward Mountain fire and the Cherry Creek fire. And thank goodness the fire did not reach the town of Cherry Creek. So that was good.
And then, would you like to say anything about the Reno fire? Did you have to evacuate from your home or your mother's home?
It doesn't impact White Pine.
Okay, we're going to move on to item A, This is the Yellen Field Report. Discussion for possible action, acceptance of a $5,000 donation to Yellen Field from Ampere Solar, White Pine Solar Project. For promotion of Yellen Field, Bill Calderwood, Airport Manager.
Good morning. This is just a donation we received quite a while back, and it was earmarked for promotion of the airport. So Ampere had given some money to the Chamber of Commerce, and they've been holding it. And as projects have been completed, they've been paying those project money out. I'll work with the finance director. We'll have a check made to the county treasurers, and we'll specify a line item so we can track that spending. And this will be used for the entry to the airport to enhance that. Because at the last commission meeting, if you recall, we changed that capital improvement priority from signage or entry signage to security cameras because of the vandalism we've had. So now I'll just use this money if accepted for the enhancement of the entryway. Any questions?
I got a couple. So the money was donated from White Pine Solar to the Chamber of Commerce.
So they named each one of the specific projects, like they donated, like at Hercules Gap, there's climbing routes there now and those kind of projects. So that has been held. We had the option from Ampere that they could place the money with the county. If we chose to. At that time, it was Kathy, and I talked to her about it, and she said, well, if it doesn't get spent in that current fiscal year, then it'll roll back into the general fund. So I had some conversation with the Airport Advisory Board, and I let them know I was going to move it over, or just request it to go into the chamber's budget. Just for that reason, so it didn't roll back in, because that was not the purpose of the funds.
So I'll probably get in trouble on this, but I don't care. It kind of saved you in a way, because if it's coming through the chamber, then I'm okay with it. I'll be honest, I'm not a supporter of that project. And if it was coming directly from the project, then I probably would have objected to accepting money from the project.
And it kind of is. I understand what you're saying.
I know.
It kind of is, but there's just a step in between from.
Because it went to the chamber and the chamber accepted it.
I have concerns about accepting this donation. Personally, I did not accept campaign donations when I ran for office. I have concerns about the county accepting donations from these projects. I understand there's fees associated, which are applicable to everyone, but I don't know about donations. I have very grave concerns about that.
I get it. Yes, for sure. And the board has just, that money's been there in place, and the reason why we've never identified is, you go to the main, we've never really identified a project how to promote the airport. And with the moving of those funds from the entryway, that was in capital improvement. It just made it kind of a natural, so that's why I come before. But I understand the concerns too. You're kind of committing to something you might not endorse.
In the chamber with their improvements.
With Ampere's money?
Chair
Commissioner
Carson,
Paul.
can you hear me?
Is that Commissioner Polly?
What is it? Yes, it is. What does the district attorney have to say about that donation to the county?
Be happy to look at it, but I'm not going to give any legal advice on that on the fly.
Okay. And just
right.
for everyone's knowledge, Commissioner Polly is on the Cherry Creek fire today. So that's where he is. And thank you, Commissioner Polly. Would you like to take, the county already transferred the 10,000 from the signage project to the camera.
That was your last meeting. You switched those priorities.
So we have 10,000 that we committed to the camera project at the airport.
Yeah, reprioritize that because of the vandalism down the main runway.
Okay. I think Commissioner Polly has a very good idea. I think we should table this until legal has an opportunity to look at it and take that into consideration. I think that's an excellent idea. So I will move to table.
I'll second.
Okay.
And
Any further comment or discussion, Commissioner Polly?
And I'll just say something.
No, ma'am.
I'm in the same boat as you. I've taken the approach, someone came to me at the fair and offered to fund the campaign, and I'm not accepting any. And I have concerns, just so it's out there in the public record, of taking money from proponents that are trying to do things with the county. I want to be very cautious about that and not go down that route.
Right.
Definitely with some that I have concerns with in general anyway.
And I have to say, I'm on the airport. I'm the liaison for the airport, and I know that they can really use this and stuff, but I just can't support who's donating it. You know, it's not something that I believe in.
We had, as you both are aware of, we had the high school students come in. I just got with the art class and they did some architectural planning for us just to involve the high school students. So I think within the airport's budget, I will be able to get started with this project. I can do a little something just out of my budget until if I understand the position it puts you in, I do.
And I appreciate all the mowing you've done there. It makes the entrance look much better, just mowing that rubber brush down.
But to make things straight, so the 10,000 that the county gave the airport will still go towards the cameras,
Yes.
Yeah.
and that's good. Okay, because I'm really concerned about this.
I've been working with the IT department and we've already kind of identified, had a couple meetings with what's the camera? Verkada. And they're making some recommendations on camera. So the IT department's been awesome to work with. So we'll continue with that route and I'll wait to hear from you.
Yeah, I think it would be a good thing to do.
Okay, well, we have a motion to table. I made the motion to table. Commissioner Roy already seconded it.
All right.
So I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes to table. Thank you, Bill. Okay, moving on to the next item. This is the Road Commission discussion update on primary and secondary roads within White Pine County and county facilities, completed and future projects, communications with corporations and governmental agencies. Road Superintendent Steve Campbell. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, guys. I don't know if you all have a copy of it that I submitted with the agenda for the report. And everything on there is pretty much, other than projected projects for the near future, is what we've done in the last 30 days. And there's been quite a bit. So this is just an overview. Basically, the road department crews operate across all sectors with major focus on monsoonal storm recovery, which we all know we've been hit pretty good on this, which in reality is somewhat normal for this time of year, but you know, trying to get ready for some of the bigger stuff that might be coming up the pipe, and we're still in that. So we're still ready for that kind of situation. Also for wildfire contingency support, traffic related deterioration management, and seasonal roadway preservation, strong coordination with contractors, local residents, fire agencies, and federal land managers did allow progress in high impact areas while maintaining essential service levels across the county. And I broke this down into sector by sector for the whole county, just to give you guys an idea where certain areas are at. Okay, for the Baker sector, Baker endured the most severe and repeated monsoonal storm damage county-wide. Crews completed multiple washout repairs, road reshaping, culvert clearing, and debris removal. Frequent emergency grading cycles were required due to successive storm hits. So Baker got hit probably the hardest. And we were down there, and as a matter of fact, there's guys down there today, and they're working the Black Horse section of it in the back roads. So Baker remains a top priority area for continued stabilization, drainage, and improvement. For the Lund sector, erosion repair, slope support, and shoulder reconstruction continued across rural routes. Culverts and low water crossings were cleaned following stormwater accumulation. Aggregate replacement strengthened roadway surfaces after seasonal moisture impacts. So basically went down and we had to dump material on some sections of the road to fill it in. Line has an issue because there's so much agriculture on a lot of our county roads down there. Our roads sometimes literally turn into canals. And we've worked with them. Most of the time they're on board with us and they try to shut it off if it gets too bad. Sometimes we literally have a duck pond down there. So Lund has their own duck pond, just everybody knows, it's all right. But then we have to wait for it to dry and then that takes some time before we can actually work the material. But other than that, it got hit a little bit, but not as bad as Baker did, but we're all being impacted by this issue here. Okay, for the southwestern sector, that's going to be down around Duckwater, Pogue Road, those areas over there, White River, over towards that part of the county. Grading and gravel reinforcement were executed across several key routes. Washout damage was repaired in multiple road sections. Drainage restoration remains ongoing to reduce future instability. So, matter of fact, we have some guys down in Duckwater on Pogue Road working that because they just finished working on it about a month ago, and then another storm come through, tore it up. Now they're back down again because school started, and there is a school bus that runs from Duckwater over to Eureka. So we're trying to keep that as a priority. For the northwestern sector, faces monumental roadway deterioration driven by heavy haul traffic from contracted projects, severe instability noted along the 30-mile stretch from US 50 eastward, including WP 16, which is the road that runs back around Little Oklahoma, if you guys know where that's at, and WP 17, which runs along the west side of Butte Valley all the way up towards the top, towards the old Paris ranches and stuff. And WP 19, all in Butte Valley. Rutting, active displacement, shoulder weakening, and drainage stream remain a major issue. Wilson Contractor, which is working with the transmission line company, has been extremely supportive. They've offered water trucks to come out, water the roads in sequence with our water trucks. So they're helping us keep some of these roads, but they can only do and work certain areas. They're confined to where their transmission line project is. But they have contributed to come out and water. So between that and then Uvalde's water, which is our only water source over in Butte Valley. So if Uvalde's ever said, that's it, Butte Valley's going to turn into Baby Powder Valley. We'll just change the name right now and get it over with. Because that's how bad it's getting. Okay, for the northeastern sector, crews address washouts and erosion along the remote and ranch access roads. Culvert cleaning, grading, and removal of all silt and vegetation, improve roadway function. Local gravel pit permitting will greatly, and I really want to push that, will greatly improve future maintenance efficiency in this sector. And that is something I'll address towards the end for future projects. Ely surrounding sector, Town of Root chip seal project was phase one. It's completed. Phase one completed using half-inch chips and a PMPSH oil binder. Obviously, you probably heard on the radio, I specifically enunciated on exactly what we were going to do, how we were going to do it, when we were going to do it, and how long it would take, and what we needed the folks in Root to do. And that probably is the biggest phenomenal thing out of that whole success story was the people in Root were right on it. They got their vehicles moved. There was burn trailers that had probably been there for decades that were moved off the roads. Matter of fact, we were on the second day on one part of Ruth and the guy was running out, oh, wait, and he comes out and had his buddy coming over and they were hooking it up and off it went. So Ruth was very, very, very cooperative with us. And I want to thank those folks if they're listening or whatever, because they really helped us make that project go quick, efficient, and total 100% coverage of all the streets in Ruth. Now, following that will be the fog seal. That will be the third week in September. And it's not as a drastic amount of equipment is needed, but it is actually more, it's a little more tasking because the material going on the road is a thinner oil, takes longer to set. So we really have to focus on traffic control. And once again, I will ask the folks en route to work with us on that because we will have to block off some streets while those other streets set. But we are working to keep every street open on one side. We'll do one side, let it set. We'll go to another, let it set, then come back and do the other side. So there'll still be a way out of Ruth all over town. They won't have to worry about being confined. Going on with the Ruth project, phase two, like I said, that will be completed in 2 days. So that will be knocked out, and that will wrap up the chip seal for route. Going on to the emergency wildfire support, the road department assisted White Pine County Fire District, NDF and BLM with heavy equipment, operators as an emergency reaction force. And I gotta say, I went to an after action report on that fire, and the biggest thing everybody agreed was the communication was phenomenal. You know, there was no concern, there was no confusion. There was a little confusion, but that was just because people looked up, saw big flames coming down off the mountain, but that was addressed immediately. Sheriff's office was on that. So, I mean, it was a good thing also for considering how big that fire was and how fast it was moving. A lot of people got up and got things done and got it done right. So kudos to everybody on that one. We were on standby the following. We did 2 days of assistance. On the third day, we had our dozer on a low boy on standby just in case they still need it, because we were still considered on a standby status with NDF. But after that, we went back into offline and we were good to go. It did not affect any of the county road maintenance throughout the county whatsoever. We have enough equipment, we have enough operators that we were able to deal with that and still deal with everything else in the county as well. The north section of Butte Valley gravel resource. This is for going on currently and will continue to go on until we get a full resolution. As I was saying earlier, Butte Valley is basically the big elephant in the room right now because deterioration of the roads on both sides of the valley is going to become catastrophic to the point where we're almost going to be so far behind. I don't know if we're going to catch up because of the fact that we have limited water source. And right now, at this point, we have limited access to materials. And then to move those materials clear across Butte Valley without having to go back and fix the roads that we already did is something that is really tasking at this point. The road department assisted, let me say, the long-term road stability is hindered by the lack of gravel pits, which I just addressed, due to restricted BLM permitting. And I've talked to BLM, I've worked with them, I'm trying to get these pits, but there are certain areas that they just will not let us have a pit. Unfortunately, a lot of those areas are areas where we do because they're closer to the roads. And my goal is to have a pit on the south end, mid valley, north end of the valley. If I can get something like that, and I emailed them and corresponded with them that if we can have that happen, I think we might be able to get ahead of this. So over the last 60 days, BLM has initiated cooperative efforts with the road department to identify potential gravel extraction points in the northeastern portion of Butte Valley. Establishing local pits is essential for supporting both current and future roadway integrity. SC, countywide emergency overtime summary. Overtime continues to be limited to emergency response situations only. So we're not doing a lot of overtime we're not actually doing any overtime for any other road work, except we did put in 4 hours extra on the last day of the root chip seal project because of the oil, and we have to get it on the ground and get the chip. But other than that, almost all of our overtime has been predominantly for monsoons and the wildfire and everything else. So hopefully that kind of settles down a little bit and we're not addressing that too much. Due to environmental volatility and contractor related traffic demands, overtime still will remain necessary operational component for rapid response and public safety. I just wanted the commission to know that when we do overtime, there's a damn good reason for it. So, and let's see, budget also for equipment budgeting. This once again falls in with the monsoons and the fire season. Equipment usage has increased across all sectors due to emergency responses, storm damage repair, heavy haul traffic, and seasonal projects. Rising fuel, tire wear, hydraulic strain, and parts consumption continue to increase operational expenses. I just got handed a invoice from mechanics yesterday morning. Our dozer took a hit on one of its drive tracks, and Tim knows what I'm talking about, on the highway. And they pulled the inspection plug out and it's got just shreds of metal all over the magnet on the plug. So now it's down and they're gonna have to come out and replace that. So initially, without the core charge, that's $31,000. With the core charge, it drops $12,000. So we're actually going back into what's reasonable that we could put into our budget. But these are the things that happen when you run equipment, especially when you're out in emergency operations, fires, flooding. So this is something that we constantly deal with, but added with the extra emergency responses, it does put a little more tasking on the equipment. So, but we are addressing, and we've got the money so far. Rising fuel, like I said, several units are approaching major service or replacement intervals requiring future budgeting attention. And when that comes to that point, I will address the county commission and what we're going to plan to do about it. Additional water truck support equipment and replacement units remain essential for maintaining readiness. We did find that during this fire sequence that there was some occasional concern about we only have one dozer. The dozer was predominantly the most important piece of equipment we had on that wildfire. And it's only a D6, and that could be partially why it was so taxed as it was being up there. So I am really, really trying to get funding for either a D7, an additional, because all of the roads we were talking about in Butte Valley, they have to be made with material to put on those roads, and that's made with a crusher, which is assisted by a dozer and an excavator to make that project work. So we only have one dozer, it's confined to that. Everything else in the county basically is at the mercy of that one dozer. So we're trying to get another one in there. And there's money there. I'm looking into some grant money, but I talked to Commissioner Pauly about it, and he said there's a possibility. There is some grant money out there that can assist with us and our budget, so we can go forward to see if we can do that in the long term. So, but that's what I'm saying as far as equipment being taxed. Looking ahead for the next 30 days, completion of phase 2 fog oil application for Ruth, continued coordination with BLM for gravel pit permitting in Butte Valley, enhanced monitoring and stabilization work in the northwestern sector during peak haul periods, ongoing monsoonal moisture recovery efforts as late season storms do persist, preparation for cooler season roadway transitions, including drainage clearing and surface stabilization. And that is my report. Mine is the PowerPoint. So, questions?
I'd like to say congratulations on the great job you did in Ruth on getting everything off of the street. I think your communication was excellent and successful.
I think a lot of that, I still got to go back to the folks in Ruth because, there are a lot of people could have said, oh, yeah, well, wait. We got there Monday morning and it was like everybody went to a rock concert that was paid for because the town was clear. It's creepy at first, but it was phenomenal. And everybody, there was a couple of vehicles, a couple of guys worked late at the mine. We're not going on there, which I felt really bad about doing. They answered the door and I have to sleep. And I'm like, buddy, you got to move the truck, man. I don't want to tell what you got to do. He's like, oh, yeah, I just woke up. I'll do it. And it was moved.
Okay. And then there is an entity on the north end of Butte Valley, I believe, that we were discussing about contacting that entity to get road agreement.
That is gonna be something where I'm been debating since that conversation, whether or not I need to go out there because officially I no longer, as the county road superintendent, I do not have the authority over the road user agreement. So it would probably be something where we could come up with a request for them to submit a road user agreement, but it would probably have to be requested by the county commission because I believe that the county commission now has that position of authority to, enforce those road user agreements. So that might be something that the county commission might want to look at to address. But I mean, if they decide to do it, I can certainly go out with, the paperwork authorization and to let them know that they need to do something with it. But they're probably going to have to come back in and sit down and negotiate something, because they're not the only one. There's a drill rig up there, up at the old Butte mine. It's also doing it. I don't know if I think they're separate, but it's the traffic coming in, it's the logistics for the support for those operations that I'll be honest, the south end of Butte Valley, the transmission line guys, they're staying on top of it. They're communicating with us. I have not had one single bit of communication from the drill rig, that company, whoever they are. I don't even know. But yes, that would be something that we need to look at doing. But the big thing really, and I hope BLM's listening somewhere out there, is we really do need to get some pits in reasonable areas of access. Because once we get those pits out there, guys, if you drove on the Cave Valley Road out to the IC Center, that road is like pavement. That's exactly the same material that we're using on that crusher for every other road in the county when we can do it. That's our long end run, is to have roads just like that. It reduces the amount of maintenance, it increases the amount of stability against monsoonal, winter, thaw, everything. So if we can get that done, we can turn Butte Valley around into a stable on both sides. So, and I'm still constantly working on that, so.
Commissioner Noriega?
Couple of questions. So Slip North then, we don't have a road use agreement where they're having to cover the cost of the road damage.
We do. We do. We even have a cash bond.
Okay, so they are on the hook then for the damage on the roads in Butte Valley.
And they're very cooperative.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. Thinking long term, you talked about dealing with the flooding and everything else.
Yes.
Anyone who watches the news knows what's going on with El Nino.
Super El
Nino, record setting year. We need to be thinking out a little further out than 30 days, being prepared. And it will affect the overtime type of stuff. The last time we had an El Nino, which wasn't a super El Nino, we had a whole lot of people trapped with snow drifts and everything else. I live in Cross Timbers and you almost could not traverse Cross Timbers because of the snow. We have the potential coming up this winter with a super El Nino. If it hits us the wrong way, we're gonna have major issues with snow movement in the county.
I can answer some of the questions on that. My predecessor was wise enough to look at the long term for different seasonal effects, because our winters do transition back and forth. It's not always going to be heavy. I mean, 2-3 years ago, we were thinking before the last one we had that we don't get winters anymore. All of a sudden, it was everywhere. Butte Valley had. I want to say I was out there working the valley, and there was probably, I want to say, across the whole valley. I mean, not just on the road, the valley itself, 3 feet of snow.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy just how the wind just laid it level. But we actually have, I think, 4 or 5 of these huge, massive B plows that attach to the graders. So we set that down, and it just blows it right open. We do also have plenty of snow removal equipment for that. We have plenty of equipment as far as off-road snow removal, and we have our snow blowers up 100% ready to go. So we're well prepared for the somewhat normal. The only thing the abnormal winter would cost us more time out on the road. That winter that you're talking about 2 or 3 years ago, I was working most of the north part of Steptoe Valley around Cherry Creek and the northern part of Butte Valley. And I was coming through Cherry Creek Pass with the grader at 9:30 at night, coming back just to get back to my work truck to get back to the yard, because there was just so much snow and we had to open up the roads as soon as we could. But, I think we're well prepared for it, but I don't think you can ever be 100% prepared for, weather related items. So we're doing everything that we think that might come down the pipe, if that answers your question.
And the main reason I bring it up too is it could have budget implications if we get into a lot of overtime stuff. So.
And I wanted to comment here, you have a budget reallocation request.
Yes.
We need to get an agenda item for that.
Yes, that's why I just wanted to bring it to the commission's attention that there's some, I talked about it, I think my first commission meeting, that we had some equipment that we didn't need, even though the money was allocated into our funding. We decided we didn't need that equipment because we had other equipment that we thought would be more practical and used a lot more. But I was informed that before we were to go and purchase another item, a large item, that we had to come from the commission first to let them know what it is we were going to purchase versus what we didn't purchase. So but I'll put that together. I'll save that for the next meeting. I'll put that on the agenda.
Okay, wonderful.
All right. Put that in there. See if I done that in there. All right. Yeah.
Any other questions from the board? Commissioner Paul, do you have any questions? Comments?
No, ma'am. But Steve, thank you. I have not received a phone call from the Nyack County bus maintenance people saying the road's terrible. So thank you so much for that. Sounds like everything's good over there.
KELY
I
Ely.
wanted to see Tim up on the monitor again, you know, 'cause last time he had the clouds behind him and we talked about that. It was kind of like the Moses thing, you know, with the beard and everything. It looked good, but it looks like he's got the fire burning thing behind him, so. Yeah.
Okay.
Put the orange
I
up.
did have one other question. Deep Valley gravel pit issue, is it a sage grouse issue?
It's a combination. It's the sage grouse. It's because obviously there are certain areas where the pits are primed because of the material within that ground at that area. And some of those are conflicting with the sage grouse, you know, and they are working, but they're still throwing these pits out there that are really like, they just sent me an offer on 2 pits. One of them is going back up towards Telegraph. Well, it's 6 miles from where that pinpoint is, back down to the turnoff, which goes back around to Butte Valley. So add the 6 plus another 6, you're talking 12 miles of haul trucks hauling material on. It would work for anything going towards Telegraph, you know, but anywhere else, that's not gonna work. Now, there was another one on there, but it's in the lower area. I mean, everybody knows Butte Valley is basically an extinct lake, you know? So there's a lot of silt out there, and I'm literally not exaggerating, every single day, there's traffic on these roads now, and every day that thing is just being turned into deeper and deeper and deeper bug dust. And if any of the commissioners were here when we were dealing with 1177, with the other drill rig out there in was it Jake's Valley, that was bad. That was really bad. They took a standard road. I mean, it was a standard road, but that road dropped literally like 8 to 10 feet in some areas because they just kept, as it blew out, they kept pushing the bug dust off to the side. So it looked like you were going through the Grand Canyon tour, you know? And it was crazy. So I don't want that to happen in Butte Valley.
Yeah.
So that's when I'm trying to stay on top of it.
Okay. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. Thank you guys. Have a good morning.
Okay, moving on to the next item, 3A1A. This is discussion for possible action, approval to replace Commissioner Paul Carson on the September 29, 2026 Debt Management Committee meeting with Commissioner Jose Noriega as a voting member. My schedule changed and I won't be able to make this meeting, but I think it's important we have representation. And Commissioner Noriega agreed to do this if the board is agreeable to this. Any questions, comments? Okay. Hearing none, I would make a motion to replace myself with Commissioner Noriega at this meeting for the Debt Management Committee.
I second that.
Thank you. So I made the motion to approve it and a second from Commissioner Robinson. Any further discussion or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes, and I do believe you'll need to be sworn in with the clerk for that meeting. Thank you very much for doing that.
Thanks.
Item B, discussion for possible action. Approval to appoint 2 county representatives to the Building Official Dispute Resolution Committee to evaluate revision of the interlocal agreement for shared services, building department services, signed May 22nd, 2025. The committee will be comprised of 2 county-appointed representatives and 2 city-appointed representatives. They will be responsible for providing written recommendations to address potential resolutions, which will then be provided back to the City Council and County Commission for further consideration and/or action. And this item is on the agenda because I did have the board sent a meeting to the city regarding the agreement. They've not replaced the
inspector.
Yeah, they hired the compliance person, planning person. And I had a meeting with
Carson?
Yes. Commissioner Paul?
Yes, I was in the building department office last week and they had hired a person. It was explained to me as a ground up person that was going to learn and be trained as such. So this is last week's information.
Correct. The county hired an entry-level building inspector. Am I using the right term? The county hired the entry-level building inspector, which was part of the agreement, in that the building official at his sole discretion could require that assistance. And our HR director hired that person to assist. However, there still is no compliance officer planning person in that department. And given the future projects that we may be looking at, I think that is very important. And we also need to have compliance and planning for our county. So the agreement calls for this building resolution committee. And that, I believe, would be the next step that we need to take in compliance with the current agreement that we have to renegotiate it, because the city was not looking at hiring someone. And I think that we need to revisit the entire agreement with the city. I notified the mayor, and he has it on the next city council agenda. So I think this is the correct step moving forward. So we would need to appoint 2 county representatives. And does the board have a recommendation for who should be appointed to this committee?
I personally would like to be a member on that committee.
Okay.
So do we have any of our department heads that should be on the committee? Or should it be 2 commissioners? Or do we have someone else within the county that we want to look at as far as representing us?
It doesn't have to be commissioners. We could have 1 commissioner and another person. And that's why I put this on the agenda for consideration.
Figure it out. I mean, I would agree to be on the committee with Tim if we don't have any other better options with department heads or others that can represent the community.
Okay.
Unless one of you 2. I'll smile for George's camera.
Well, and I would also like to open another agenda item in coordination with this one, and that's your agenda item,
Yes.
which is discussion for possible action, how to move forward with the processes and decisions related to the Regional Planning Commission. And the Regional Planning Commission, from my research, shows that it was created in this current situation with the city in 2019. So it is also a joint committee. And I would like to combine that with this building agreement, and perhaps we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak. Right.
I looked at both of those 2 and wondered, because they do parallel each other. And with that open as we consider who to put on this, I will just share my ideas of why I put that on there, because I see 4 alternatives. I'm thinking in my own NEPA brain from the Forest Service days. 4 alternatives on how to proceed forward with Regional Planning Commission. Leave it the way it is right now. And I don't know that that's a viable option. The way the MOU is written and so forth, we could leave it the way it is, which the Regional Planning Commission has the full authority to make decisions on all of these things, including these big renewable energy stuff. What my concern with leaving it where it is with that is that any decisions made in the Regional Planning Commission are appealable. And most people that come in or have concerns about projects coming forward don't know that they are appealable. And if we were to leave it that way, which I think in my initial conversations with the mayor, that is where he would prefer to leave it, it is adamant that we reinforce the appeal options in there so that everyone in that meeting and everyone being noticed knows that those actions are appealable, either the commission or the council. And there would be just even a one-page form that would help guide them on what to do.
They are appealable by the project that's being either approved or denied by.
No, it's actually appealable by anyone in the county that has concerns with it. Yes,
So anyone in the county
anyone in
would
the county
appeal
could
that
appeal it.
decision.
And if the project is in the county, it's appealable to our board. And if the project is in the city, it's appealable to city council. That's how I read the MOU when I looked at it. That would be an option in that case. We just need to reinforce the appeal language so that people know what their rights are. Third option is that we pull back the authority on a certain subset of projects back to the city council and the commission. But then we have to identify what those sideboards are, what we pull back. And then in that case, the project proponents would present to the regional planning commission. They would review it, just like our other advisory committees, and make a recommendation forward. And the last option is if we can't come to agreement, we abolish the regional planning commission, which I don't know that that's the route we want to go.
Okay. So if we can combine this discussion with the other committee, the resolution committee, that would be a good, I think a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would move to approve Commissioner Hawley and Commissioner Noriega to the Building Official Dispute Resolution Committee to evaluate the interlocal agreement for shared services, building department services, signed May 22nd, 2025, and to include the processes and decisions related to the Regional Planning Commission. Any other discussion from the board? Comments? No? Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. So I made the motion to approve this, a second from Commissioner Noriega. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. And moving on to the next item, discussion for possible action. Approval of submitting a one-page report that will assist the White Pine Chamber of Commerce to present a substantive overview of our area's strengths and critical opportunities for the state and federal government to better support us. The Chamber of Commerce will disseminate the information at the Silver State Summit to our state legislators, and for congressional delegates. And I included a sample in the backup and open to any modifications or revisions that the board would like to make.
I read through it and I liked it. I was and others might find some things they would like to see changed, but I liked it.
Okay. Rob, is there anything you'd like to see changed?
No, I was just wondering, anything to say,
Commissioner Polly do you have anything to add to this one-page report,
Nope.
Commissioner Polly?
No, ma'am. I thought it was very well put together also.
Okay, thank you.
very good.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
A second.
All right, I have a motion to approve from Commissioner Noriega and a second from Commissioner Robinson. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Item D, discussion for possible action. Approval to direct the county clerk to advertise and publish a notice of a public hearing regarding the Charters of Freedom project to be held at the next regularly scheduled meeting of the White Pine County Board of Commissioners meeting on September 9, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. at the White Pine County Library Conference Room. The public is invited to provide the Board of Commissioners with suggestions of location and style of display. And again, we did receive the plaques from the Charters of Freedom and our road department supervisors. Steve Campbell was kind enough to receive them and store them until we can decide what it is that we would like to do. And again, these plaques are for education, history, civics. They're for access for all citizens to have local access to these life-size replicas of our county countries, founding documents displayed in a permanent proper setting. So this would be something for the entire community, and they even sent us plans if we wanted to go with this type of a display. If they're willing to help, if we want to, you can take a look at this if you'd like, pass it down. They're willing to assist us with.
Give that for everybody in the room.
I don't. I can't share it. Okay, I can't share it.
Take it back. It would be against the county's policy on agenda backup.
Okay.
So what we can do on this stuff is if we approve a public hearing, then make sure that we've got copies of
This for the public
that
hearing,
for the
right?
public hearing. Yeah.
But I would just like to invite the public to let us know if they'd like to have it at Veterans Park. They'd have it like to have in front of the library, or if there's another location, and what type of thing. It could be outdoors, or we could frame them, hang them on the wall. But I'd like to have a public hearing on it and give the public an opportunity
Voice their opinion.
to voice their opinion. Okay. Okay.
I move to approve to direct county clerk to advertise and publish for a public hearing on this matter.
Second that. Okay. I have a motion to approve the public hearing. The motion to approve comes from Commissioner Noriega with a second from Commissioner Robinson. Any further comment? Questions from the board? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion is approved. Okay, next item, discussion for possible action. This is approval to submit the bill draft request, BDR, for the 84th 2027 session of the Nevada Legislature, which requires quarterly investment reports from county treasurers in the state of Nevada. And the document is included in the backup. Any questions or comments about this document?
I read the document. I agree. I don't have any comments.
Okay. So. Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
A second. I have a motion to approve from Commissioner Noriega and a second from Commissioner Robinson. Any further comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We've already discussed item 2 from Commissioner Noriega, so I'll move on to 3B1. This is Catherine Backrack, the treasurer. And this is discussion update treasurer's monthly report for June fiscal year 2026. Is the treasurer on team? She's not in the room. Catherine, are you on Teams? Do you have any comments, discussions? Okay, hearing none, I would like to comment that the Wells Fargo investment balance for 27 million increased by, if my math is correct, 54,000. The Morton balance, which is now metered, that ballots increased by 40,000. The LGPI ballots, June final, increased by $77,910, but that included approximately 40,000 correction from the previous month. But it's not so stated on this report, but when you look at the May report, it was off by about 40,000. So the good news is that the investment total balance increased. One thing that I noticed in the receipt report is that there were 12 voided receipts. And I went back over previous months, starting with June 2025. There were 3 voids. July 25 had 7. August 25 had 4. Going on through from June 2025 through May 2026, and that is this report, which is about 30 days behind, but there was an average of 5 voids per month. So I thought 12 was a little unusual. I don't know if the treasurer may have a very good reason for that. I don't know. But without her explanation, I just wanted to point that out. Did anyone know?
Quick question, being new at this, what is a void on that, you know?
On the report, the receipts are numbered,
Yeah,
which is very good. This is a voided receipt.
so it would be like a bounce check or something?
I think it would be a mistake was made and voided and then maybe redone. That would be my guess. There was also on June 8th, there was a correction for receipt number 15058 it was a negative 18 million. And then on June 11th, it was fiscal year 26 net proceeds of minerals was a plus 18 million. So I don't know. Again, I don't know if it was basically a wash. There was a finance payroll correction for $8,800, and that might have been the repayment from former finance director who was overpaid on her exit funding. So that was paid back. Good to see that. And also include on June 30th was the cash bond that we received from Great Basin Transmission for $250,000 for their road agreement. So that was received. And I don't know if anybody else has any other comments or questions. No? Okay. We will move on to item 2A. Nicole Steffi, County Clerk. This is discussion for possible action. Approval of selecting a new county commissioner to the State Land Use Planning Advisory Council representing White Pine County. The governor declined our selection, so we need to select someone else. The State Land Use Planning Advisory Council, I believe, meets quarterly. So if you were agreeable, Jose, I would recommend that we nominate you since you have the most government experience.
I can do.
Okay, so I would move to appoint Commissioner Jose Noriega to this position. And do I have a second?
I second that.
Okay, a second from Commissioner Robinson. Any further discussion or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, congratulations, Commissioner Noriega. Item B, discussion for possible action. Ratification of the grant application to the U.S. Alliance for Election Excellence for $10,000 with no match, required to help with the unbudgeted costs to upgrade or replace election voting equipment to comply with the Voluntary Voting System Guideline 2.0 requirements. Our clerk, Nicole Steffi, do you have any comments?
I do not.
Good job in getting a grant for this.
Thanks.
That's awesome. Thank you, Nicole.
I'll move to approve.
I second.
Okay. I have a motion to approve from Commissioner Noriega, a second from Commissioner Robinson. Any further comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We move on to item C. This is discussion for possible action. Approval to reset the first county commission meeting in November due to the Veterans Day holiday and to accommodate approval of the canvass of the vote for the 2026 general election, or in the alternative to reset the regular county commission meeting and schedule a special county commission meeting for approval of the canvass. So my question would be to the clerk, how many days after the election do you need for the canvass meeting?
No more than 10 days. So if we were to reschedule on Thursday, the 12th, that would be within my time frame, or even Friday, the 13th, but not the week after.
Okay.
Tuesday, the 10th would not give me enough time. We'd have to schedule the special meeting.
But if we had the meeting on the 12th, that would give you enough time?
Yes, it
So
would.
we could buy both?
Yes.
Okay. Are all the commissioners agreeable to Thursday, the November 12th?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
I'll move to approve the reschedule to the 12th.
I second.
Okay. I have a motion from Commissioner Noriega to move the meeting to the 12th of November with a second from Commissioner Robinson. Any further comments or questions from the board? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 I
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. So this meeting is moved to November 12th. And I don't know if the library is available that day. We'll have to look into that and see. Did you by chance look into that?
I have not.
Okay. So that will be pending availability at the library. And then item D, discussion for possible action, approval to cancel the second county commission meetings in November and or December with conflicts with the holidays.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Robinson to approve and a second from Commissioner Noriega. Any further comments from the board or questions? I would say that last year I protested this because I feel like the commission should be working, but the county employees were ready to lynch me. Sure. And hearing no objection from the citizens of the county.
I will just say, I mean, I have no trouble coming to a meeting if we needed to.
If
So,
we need to, we will call a special meeting.
yes,
Okay.
I don't have a problem with doing a meeting.
Okay. So in the month of November, we would only have one meeting, and that would be November 12th. In December, we would have one meeting, that would be Wednesday, December 9th. So I have a motion from Commissioner Robinson to approve this, a motion from Commissioner Noriega to second it. All those in favor say aye.
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 I saw that I wrote.
Any opposed?
I
Okay. So that is 3 approval and 1 nay. Motion passes. The county employees should be very happy. We'll move on to item
I'm
C1.
happy.
Item C1A, discussion for possible action. This is approval to award the bid for the bar and grill at the White Pine County Golf Course for the period of September 1, 2026 to October 31, 2027 to Parago County Market LLC, DBA JT Steakhouse. And this is Cole Burdick. Good morning, Cole. Good morning.
So at the beginning of your guys' packet there, I did build a bid tab consisting of the main points of requirement for this bid. Everything's in order. Applicant qualifies, so Carol's here to have a discussion with you guys if you'd like, so.
Yeah, it's a lot of paperwork.
Yes.
I threw it all, and I'm very impressed. I mean, I'm excited.
So I actually read it all of it.
Yes.
In my past life, I used to do recreation concessionaire permits for the Forest Service, campground concessionaires, so very similar to that. And I saw there were some items in there that wanted to be renegotiated. And so I looked at those. There was a question of going away from the 10%.
Yes.
And going to a flat fee. That does make it a whole lot easier on both sides to do it that way. There was also something, I think there might have been a little bit of confusion on the utilities, specifically the propane.
Yeah, there was a conflict in that little part of, the utility costs and all that. And because of that, I believe the county or the golf course will be paying that utility bill regardless. Obviously there'll be a higher cost because now we are operating a gas grill. But in the future, I can definitely get that contradiction taken out, but
okay. The proposal was for $1,000 a month for the rent on the building with all the utilities covered. And I'm assuming that's for the full period.
Yes.
Yes, even during the off season.
Even during off season, yes.
The rent cost with the utilities included, especially because of the propane, might be a little bit low at $1,000. But I would throw that out for other thoughts of commissioners as far as whether or not $1,000 would be appropriate or not, or if it should be a little bit higher. So those were the primary questions I had.
Commissioner Pauly, did you have any comments?
I also would have concerns. The propane bills keep going up, and that doesn't seem viable. But on the other hand of that, we need actually somebody there in that establishment to support the public. So a little bit torn both ways.
I will say this much, although we might haggle a little bit over the money in the end, the whole reason for being here isn't really about whether or not we're making money on it or not, whether or not we're providing good services to the people that use golf courses. Right. And so in the end, whether we do $1,000 a month or $1,500 a month, it may not be a major impact. So.
And I will say we did throw up the 1,000 because of kind of the off seasons, not sharing how much. So that's kind of what we came up with that number, trying to be reasonable, understanding that, that the utilities were covered, but with the fact that I would love to, and I think we kind of talked about this a little bit in there too, at the end of our contract, renegotiate as well and say, okay, let's take a look at this. Let's see if it's working for both of us and see if we can continue this relationship. But that was kind of where that number came up. There's not a lot of money to be made in restaurants. I'll be completely honest with you. So we were trying to find a balance of like that's $12,000 the county didn't have, or actually 13 with the kind of the way it's written right now.
Yeah.
But the willingness to afterwards to renegotiate a little bit if we look at the utilities and kind of find a balance where county is not losing money, but we're also not losing money either at the restaurant as well.
So I would be comfortable moving forward with the 1,000. But that did bring up another question. There is a clause in the contract about an automatic renewal. I'm good with what you just said, renegotiating at the end of the term of it, and possibly extend the thing, but I'm not comfortable with an automatic renewal
Yeah, and I guess as long as the wording was, or something along those lines where we can come back and renegotiate. The hard part in a restaurant, I'm treating it more as a restaurant, not as a concession in that sense, because I think that the bar and grill should be, as that sense is, in a restaurant world, it takes a roughly 3 years to even start to see profits in that realm. And so with making a commitment to 1 year, it's tricky. So, yeah, I would just.
Not always good business.
Right, exactly. And so I was hoping we'd have that relationship that we could come back and renegotiate if it came with that, but without it having to go back out, just say, okay, hey, this is working, but we can continue this relationship going forward. Is more of what I was looking for in that.
I'm comfortable with that. Not an automatic renewal, but the ability, kind of the right of first refusal option. We renegotiate and don't necessarily have to go back out again.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was looking for, just to try to make sure that we can I'm making a sound business decision as well. So.
Commissioner, I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that the reason why that was put in there is because the golf director pro in his employment agreement has the opportunity after a full golf season under his belt to take over operations of the restaurant and bar. That is why we had this set for 13 months, because he would have the opportunity to have that right of first refusal, or we would be able to offer a right of first refusal.
So regardless of what happens here, we're committing to a term with you, and you've got the contract there. But I'm going to be totally honest with all of that. We have no idea 13 months down the road where we're going to be on any side of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's something we can. I've already started to talk to Kevin out there to make sure that we're all on the same page as well. So, yeah, I see where you're coming from on that, and we'd love to just continue that conversation, and maybe not first refusal if it's a part of his contract. But maybe second, make sure that if he doesn't want to continue that we would have the first opportunity outside of the golf pro, which I understand.
Consideration without having to go back out.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for on that. And I understand where that stuff from Kevin. So Kevin's contract.
I had a question about the hours.
Yep.
Well, because it's to 4 o'clock. Well, okay, what are that? I so 4 for the rest.
So
7 to 2.
So what we're proposing is offering breakfast and lunch during the golf season.
Yeah.
And then also, but then keeping the bar open until at least 30 minutes after the last golfer comes in, which I think was part of the contract, was that we were supposed to be open or be available 30 minutes after the operations of the golf course. So if we have set hours of the golf course, which I think we're kind of trying to work towards getting to that, where it's not just open at all times, that we would be available to provide drinks and snacks and stuff. Just the grill itself would not be open past lunchtime.
Okay, but will you have after hours, like with the bar?
Yes.
Like appetizers, that type of thing?
We'll have some like pre-made stuff that we can sell, but the grill itself will be closed.
Yeah, okay, so just the grill.
With snacks and stuff like that. So if anyone came in and wanted some candies or chips or some things that we had pre-made sandwiches
that we just heat it up in the microwave or something like that.
Or something
like some kind of appetizers. I mean, that would be for if like maybe people that. Well, here's too much.
And honestly, we're trying to leave a little bit of flexibility to kind of see what the demand is out there. This gave us a great opportunity to provide a lunch service that we're not able to provide at our current location as well. So there's that. We didn't want to compete too heavily with what we have on there, but I do agree that if and it may be on special events too. Let's say we have tournaments going on or something like that, and we want to provide hot hors d'oeuvres or something like that in the evening. Definitely would be something that we are more than willing to do out there. This is kind of new to all of us, so we're trying to figure that out and see what it is. But guaranteed, you'll have breakfast and lunch every year or all day or every day.
In the evening, I know some like to hang around and drink.
And that's why we would keep the bar open until the end of the operational hours of the golf course out there.
Yeah, want to make sure they have something on their stomachs to drive home.
And just so you guys are aware, as I sit here and talk with all my business partners in this situation, we obviously plan on
paying rent 12 months, so we want to be out there 12 months. And so that means that we are going to do different events out there. We've already started brainstorming some ideas to try to bring some other people into the golf course. I think there's a lot of opportunities, some live music that we could offer during there. This indoor facility. I think there's a way that we could get away with some like poker nights and different things like that that benefits both the bar, but also get some people out there as well. So
It's gonna be awesome.
yeah, so we really have thought about this as a whole year project, not just a seasonal project. But I think in our contract, we kind of put seasonal independent because when the golf course is not there, I mean, that does bring the people in. I mean, ultimately, that's what the people are there for. So we wanted to give ourselves a little bit of flexibility and see what that works on. But, you know, at least probably 5 days a week, we'll have something going on out there and at least offer lunch out there during the non-golf course operational times. So trying to keep that clubhouse going in that sense. But we have to remember that the golf course, it is a golf course. And so that is what brings a lot of those people in. So when it shuts down, we're seasonal, it's just what it is, that's just going to happen. So what we will try to figure out how we can maintain just kind of the bar and grill area going on during the winter times.
And I would like to say your proposal is impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for providing all of this information.
Boy, a lot. It was really thorough.
One thing I would like to mention is that on the liability insurance,
Yes.
and the county will be named as additional insured with the certificate provided to the finance department.
Yes, and I've already got a hold of State Farm and they're starting to work on that. When I saw that we were the only bid, I wanted to give them a heads up that there was a good possibility that we were going to be able to do that. So State Farm is already working on putting the county on there as a writer on the insurance, and you guys will get a copy of that.
Okay, and I agree that $1,000 a month will be much easier for everyone involved.
Yeah.
So I'm very agreeable to that. And then you wanted the first opportunity to provide catering services. I'm also in agreement with that.
Yeah.
Since you were there and you're doing all this work, I think that is a good thing because you are already
Right.
involved in catering.
And the way I see that is if there was like a wedding or something, because I would like to promote it as in that sense as well, or tournaments and things like that. We just have the opportunity to provide food if that whatever organization is putting that on, we have the opportunity to at least do that. So.
Yes. So my question, Nicole, is do we have a rental fee for the golf course in the off season for someone who wants to have a birthday party or a poker night, or do we have a rental
No,
fee?
to my knowledge, there really hasn't been any events out there in the,
And that's what we want to encourage. We
Yeah.
do want to encourage that. So I would recommend that we come up with a very reasonable fee, but something just to cover our costs, what it would take to maybe set it up or
okay,
clean it up,
we could make it
that type of thing.
very similar to, the parks reservations that we have. If they have 25 people or more, then there's a $250 cleaning deposit. If after the event, we come in and the place is clean, no damage, they get their $250 deposit back.
Yeah.
You could make it along the lines of those, and
You can work on that.
I'll work on that and get something drawn up, and I can bring it to the board for approval.
Also need to take into consideration that as opposed to a park area, we have additional utilities that
Yes, yeah.
being included.
Right.
Treat it kind of like a venue, have a venue. I think that's very reasonable.
Yeah. We keep it very reasonable.
Yeah.
So people will use it.
I do, just real quick, I have one more asking and just one more informational. There is a tournament this weekend, the 29th, in the Kathy Jensen Memorial Tournament. We've been, again, like when I saw we the only bid on here, I've been working with the sheriff's office to try to get at least a temporary or special liquor license or for this weekend. I've already got our temporary health permit for this weekend. So I was hoping that maybe you guys were agreeable that we could at least offer that service starting the 29th versus the September 1st start date. Both of the, and then there's another tournament the next week on the member guest is on the 5th and 6th. I believe it is. Those dates kind of, and we already have our temporary permit for that as well. We're going to work on the alcohol on that one. When we're talking about permits, the county gave up their food permits for that establishment. So we have to go through the whole plan review and all that. So it is going to take us a minute to get in fully operational. I just want everyone to be aware that I've already started working with Renee at the health department, but because the county no longer holds any permits there, we have to go through the whole process again, which is a lengthy, and we think this paperwork that I submitted today is long. It is 10 times that we have to go through to try to get that taken care of again. So I just want you guys to be well aware, and that's going to be money that we'll spend on to make sure, because there's a large cost that goes into that as well. But we're willing to do that. And that's part of this, trying to figure out as a business. But just so you're aware that it probably will try to get the liquor license, which you guys will see, like the permanent liquor license on hopefully the next one and everything like that. But so we can at least get the bar going. The restaurant itself will take a little bit. If there's any events, I'll try to keep applying for the special permanent ones that we can be able to use it. But for permanent use, it does take it is a bit of a process. I'm gonna have to fire marshal in there to check the exhaust system and the suppression system, and then Renee has to come in multiple times and check off things and things like that. So I just want you to be aware of that situation, that it won't be like immediate, and I will try to do my best to service any like events that are happening right now. But when it comes to full operation, it's going to take me a hot second to get everything going and operational out there.
Yeah. Yeah, we just hope that they don't identify major glitches that require upgrades.
And service and looking out there, I think we should be just fine. I was going to say I'll make sure that we do a full clean of the fryer again and everything. Like everything looks good. Everything's operational. I did plug in some refrigerators just to make sure that they're coming up to temp, and freezers are at temp and things like that. So I don't foresee any issues. It's just a logistic and paperwork nightmare that we have to go through, some hoops that we got to jump through. But I don't foresee us having any issues getting it completed. It's just a timing and paperwork situation that I have to take care of. So just wanted you guys to be aware of that.
Okay. Anything else from the board?
No, I'm excited. I think it's really awesome.
So to clarify all the things that we've just.
This is always my favorite when putting together a motion.
Yeah. So I would move to approve this with the items that we discussed, and that is changing the rent to $1,000 per month instead of the 10% of the receipts. To accepting the change in the hours, that the restaurant would be open from 7 to 2 with snacks provided thereafter with the open bar.
We have to remove the automatic renewal after the 1 year.
And make it contingent upon the golf pro and what he knew at that time.
It would be the option to renew without competition in coordination with the golf pros contract.
Right. Anything else?
And as long as you guys are okay with the start date of the 20th.
Oh, yeah.
29, yes. The start date of August 29 with rent to begin September 1st.
Yes.
So
thank you.
Right.
Appreciate that.
Give you that time.
Yeah.
And
then we'll make sure to get the cleaning fee and everything like that.
Additional insured.
And I'll
additional insurance.
I'll get the certificate.
We'll get the changes, etc.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so that's the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. So I made the motion. I made the motion with the second from Commissioner Noriega. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you guys so much. I'm super excited for this opportunity. We'll get that thing going as soon as possible. So, thank you guys. Appreciate it, commissioners.
Thank you, Cole. Moving on to item C2A, Mike Halsey, Human Resources Director. Discussion for possible action. Approval for personnel policy amendment. Oh, I'm sorry, we tabled, we pulled that one.
Yeah, A and B are off.
A, B are off. We're going to item C. Discussion for possible action, approval to advertise a position for an investigator. This would be a position for the White Pine County District Attorney's Office. The recommended salary range is $68,973 to $103,189. Okay. HR Director Mike Halsey.
As me and the DA have been working to get this down, the final draft on it. It's so that we backfill in case there's a need of us not getting an additional attorney for the county. So we're going to get this process so that we can have, go ahead. What's up?
I think both Commissioner Robinson and Commissioner Carson are aware. Talked about this at my budget meeting way back in January as a way to help lift the load for the attorneys in my office. Now there's just two of us because we haven't had applications in more than 2 years. I think this investigator's position will be able to help us prep for trials, review evidence, get ready for court. I've wanted an investigator in the DA's office for a long time. I had the opportunity to talk to the sheriff yesterday. He said there hasn't been one for about 60 years. So that's more than how many years I've been here. I think this is a good way to grow the office, but also recognizing that we just can't seem to attract attorney interest. The salary range is taken from the sheriff's office, Detective 1 budget. I think I worked with different job descriptions from Clark, Washoe, Nye, Deputy DA Smiley worked really hard to put this together. This is a big grab bag of possibility. And then after this, if this is approved, I will be the single point of contact and I'll work with Post so that I can verify their training. This is a peace officer position, category 2. So do you support me in this? And thanks to Mr. Halsey for his hard work getting this together.
So I have some questions and some comments. So I know we as a county, before I got here, we went into a hiring freeze.
And for new position.
So this one is a position that's on an org chart, correct?
It's in the budget.
It's in the budget.
It's in the budget.
So there are attorney positions in my office that aren't filled.
I know.
I'm just looking to sub this in for that.
And you
I obviously not gonna just fill my whole office with people.
You hit it right on the button. That is something I'm struggling with on hiring. Because we've talked about a hiring freeze, but we have so much turnover and everything else. You're trying to fill the holes. And so, and I know your situation and where you're at with the vacancies. So I actually support this position and filling it to try and provide that support. I do want to say though, where I would want to go, and I talked about it before, and I think you were working on it, having some org charts for each department available so that at some point we can have a conversation about where we sit right now in org charts and possibly where we want to see ourselves going in the future. So given that comment and kind of the direction I'd like to see us go, I support the position and recommend.
We do have on the last doc, we had the approval for a paralegal.
Right.
So that's just, this is kind of in unison to help them support if the need arises, if we don't find some attorneys. We are attending a job fair in a couple of weeks. Me and the DAR and UNLV for like 3 straight days to fill with DAs.
Yeah.
For some of the positions they need.
Just trying to plug the holes.
How I've explained it to Mr. Halsey is there's an order of operations in my office. Number one, I really need attorneys because we need help staffing cases that come in, going to court. Under that, if we can't have that, then I need help being prepped for court. And so the law clerk position that we came up with, the paralegal position and this position, to help support us with that, absent finding an attorney for what we really need is 3 attorneys, but yes.
So I would move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. And we do need to support the office, so I agree. Okay, so I have a Commissioner Robinson has a motion to approve, a second by Commissioner Noriega. Any further comment or questions from the board? Okay. Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
There's still a hiring freeze in the county, and I think that needs to be respected.
Is that a nay?
That's a nay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we have 3 ayes, 1 nay. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Halsey. Thanks. So we have Alicia Burke-Bigler, Finance Director, Comptroller. Item A, discussion for possible action. Approval to purchase Arcoga LLC an AI intelligence program to help finding grant opportunities and the amount of and not to exceed $25,000, presented by Cora Gaddy, jointly submitted with Pasco and Fort Hall. Okay. Good morning.
I'm gonna come to you guys with a little bit of a different background, kind of give you our company overview. So I come to you as a veteran with the United States Coast Guard, 8 years, a veteran with the LVMPD as a police sergeant for 13 years, and then my co-founder, my identical twin brother, who was the chief administrative officer for a tribe in Southern Nevada, and now sits as the executive director of osteopathic medicine. So what we've done is came together while he was at the tribe and identified some of the issues that they were having with accessing federal funding. It initially started off with federal contracts, identifying company profiles and matching them with those opportunities that were available to them. We then transitioned to ask them, what are some of the issues that you see within Indian country? What does that look like? And access to funds. So from that kind of just streamlined. Then we started jumping into law enforcement, met with court over through a referral. Myself having the law enforcement background, that's why I'm with you today. Been on the other side and have heard other statements before. So when I am done, any questions, I'm here to explain it. Artificial intelligence is up and coming, and it can be a little daunting. It can be a little scary, but there's also good ways that this can be very advantageous to your county in accessing funds. What we initially found was that the organizations were missing continuous intelligence. So what you typically have on a day-to-day basis is you have one grant writer who is trying to identify funds that are available. And what they're doing is most of the time that we found is that they were late in the pursuit, so late in that cycle, meaning that they identified opportunities that were available for their specific needs. They were late in the process. Also, what we found was that there was a poor strategic fit. So the organization didn't actually match what they were actually pursuing. Along with that was the compounding operational drag. So what you saw was this combined throughout its entirety through the process was that it was a delayed response and they were missing several opportunities. When we look at the hidden risk of traditional grant operations, typically it's a single person dependency. I'm not standing here today to ask you to remove your grant writer by any means. We're here to support them, provide them insight so they can streamline the process and identify more funds for you so we can move through the process a lot easier. The retirement and turnover risk. So what we did find too is that if you had a grant writer, especially in small counties, that you would have a person that was semi-familiar with grants, but then it took them time to get caught up with the grants that were currently active and then how to actively pursue those grants. Our intelligence system brings that back and we bypass that because the intelligence, as we build your company profile, and I'll refer to the organization as company, as we build your company profile, it is constantly evolving. So it's constantly looking at your operational needs, your staffing needs, and your support, and what it is that you guys as a county decide what your priorities are. Our intelligence gathers that, and then we start to streamline the process. Compliance and reporting burden and the inability to scale. So when we looked at the traditional, I know on the your agenda there, we have it listed for 25,000. That is for us to negotiate as well. What we did is we did a market analysis and saw that any typical process is charging anywhere from, when you look at it in its entirety, 95,000 to 180,000 annually when you're looking at that process. And again, that is dependent on 3-4 grants, as opposed to our system. For instance, I ran opportunities this morning for your county. You're sitting at about 33 that are actively open, available for you. Now, we would have to take your departments. I believe you guys sit with 10 departments, and we have to structure those to identify your needs and what you guys are looking to do as a county. Again, that is preliminary. What it takes for us as a company is to come in and sit down and needs and your functions. When we compare it to the traditional model, again, we have the one grant writer, we have an AI powered dashboard. So on our end, we're constantly receiving information. Our system's continuously monitoring the opportunities that are available. So we look at your typical SAM.gov, your local, the opportunities that are within your area, and then we also look for strategic partners that may align with your county. It's automated intelligence workflows. So what we do is we identify the information that is, let's say, listed on SAM grants.gov, and we extract those PDFs. We extract, you look for keywords, key terms. So again, it's completely customized and tailored for what exactly that you as a county is looking for. And that is our goal, to build that continuous intelligence to identify, again, your needs. Now, what I would like to do, I think you guys do have a printout here, but what we did yesterday was we ran the opportunities that we see here for you guys. So our system identified 33 funding opportunity categories with credible county eligibility, 10 county service areas. Every department was evaluated, and that was a recommended pursuit portfolio of $13.5 million to $27.8 million. We also looked at funding sectors, reviewed the federal, state, and regional, as well as private, and that sat anywhere from an estimated 5-year capture of $5.2 million to $10.4 million. And then we did programs open for action today on a continuous intake. So if we were to look at it today without the closure rate and given us enough time for your grant writer to pursue it, you have 2 that would be available today. You guys have already had, as a county, looks like a good fiscal year in 2022 with about 55 million if our research is right with this, and in 2024 you're doing about 56 million. So what we try to do is look at past performance and see how can we increase that track record for you to for the programs that you guys are looking to push forward with. How the funding intelligence works. So this is where I'll hopefully be able to explain this in layman's terms. So what we do is we sit with the folks that make the decisions on what it is, your department heads, on what they are actually looking for. From there, we take that, we put that into an intake form. And what we do is we start to score your departments based upon your readiness, what those opportunities that you're looking for, and we provide a fit score. From the fit score, we then take it to a win probability. So those 2 scores there compare and contrast to the specific company's profile. That way, we're not wasting time with opportunities that otherwise would take a grant writer weeks to write out, and then we're just coming up with no funding. Just some of the key points that we would like to touch on with your county is that you guys have already completed successful grants. Right, that's there, and I heard this morning that there was a $10,000 grant in it. What can our COVID do is we can take those existing grants that you have, build it into the company profile, and identify other opportunities based upon included terms and excluded words. So we're really digesting and getting to the core principle of what you are looking for. And again, we're not here to replace county staff for existing grant process. As you know, there's legal ramifications when it comes to the grant writing process. We do have services where we can offer the grant writing and as well as the records and management. We do try to steer away from that just with the small counties, because we know that it takes a whole team to continue with the grants, and we don't want to, again, we're not looking to bring our artificial intelligence to remove people's jobs by any means. We're here to provide support to your organization. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
Any questions from the board? Comments?
So this board's one where I am IT challenged. AI scares the holy crap out of me.
Yeah.
And there's things about it that it spooks me. In my past life, I used to write lots of grants. That was part of my job that I had to do. And so, I read through all of the options and the proposals. I have some concerns right now to commit, given that there's a lot of different alternatives. Is there other counties within the state of Nevada that are currently utilizing your services?
We are in conversations. You guys will be the first in Nevada. We are out on the East Coast.
Okay. To be honest, I don't know that I'm ready yet to jump in with 2 feet. Any thoughts? Put you on the spot.
Oh, well, no worries. First off, I want to point out that though I sat in a meeting, Zoomed. This is not through my office. Court Hall put this together. And Cora did assist, but it was supposed to be being presented by Court Hall, and not my office. And I would have pointed out, had I reviewed all of this truly as it says I did, I would have pointed out that $25,000 is the cost to get this started. It'll be a $10,000 a year charge. In phase 2 is where that starts, which I have to expect starts before the $25,000 hits a year old. So the not to exceed $25,000 is already exceeded because we'll do $25,000 to provide all of the information and get everything put together by this company, and then we're going to pay $10,000 a year for the program. Whereas I have issues with not having really gotten to review this and looked into it prior to, though it says I did. I would then say that I've experienced some of the same issues that our DA's office has experienced. It is very tough to fill positions, especially with people who know we have advertised for grant to fill the grants office a number of times, and we aren't getting anybody who has grant writing experience, ever received a successful grant.
I don't want the job.
And, so it's not, I don't have a problem with the AI aspect of it or the IT aspect of it. I think where we stand right now, not having to overload our one grant specialist, Cora Gatti, and have her needing to monitor, manage, input, plus go out searching for grants. I think it is an opportunity for our departments as well. Our county clerk has been going after grants for various reasons very successfully. More assistance so that she has more time on her hands for doing the rest of her job. Grant searching for grants is not a real big aspect for her position, and she does it very well. I think that the opportunity to have somebody, another organization that has a successful history with searching for grants and providing the information that will make it easier for our staff, both in the grants office and countywide, to put in proposals for grants and receive them is a positive. I don't know, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about this particular company, but I do know that they have a positive record. And as he said, they do have experience in that, even if they are based on East Coast. I think that it is a good opportunity, but knowing that the pricing will need to modify what we're requesting money-wise for it if we do this.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
This program identifies grants that would assist the county. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
It doesn't write the grant. It doesn't manage the grant. It only identifies grants.
That is what we are proposing today.
Okay.
Their company in the stuff I read can provide those services
That is
at an additional cost.
Okay.
That is correct.
I think this is an excellent opportunity, but I'm not convinced this is the right time for us because we have one grant writer. And if you look at the grant report, we have more grants to manage than one person can really do. And other department heads are very generous in their time in identifying and managing grants. I think we're kind of maxed out right now on what we can handle.
Madam Chair, this is Court.
Go ahead, Court.
So this opportunity was brought to me for the fire district. As you know, anytime, I look for money all the time to improve equipment and things like that. This opportunity was brought to me to assist the fire district in finding the grants. As you know, I'm a one-man show out there, so I'll get grant opportunities sent to me occasionally. We know the standard aid to firefighter grant that we apply for. 90% of the time when we talk about trying to find a purchase or trying to make a purchase of something, it's always first question is, have you applied for a grant? No, I usually haven't applied for a grant because I know of a few grants and have found a few that we've reached out and applied for that we've been unsuccessful in. And a lot of the reason we were unsuccessful is due to the fact that we didn't necessarily match what the grant was giving. We weren't a good candidate, didn't meet their expectations or how they wanted to grant that money out. So that was brought to Arcova was brought to me. So in sitting in on the meeting with Sean, we just looked at it, and this is like an amazing program that, we can find these things due to the short staff, searching out grants. I was going to assume that the Corps' job is a lot of searching for grants due to the fact that, that's what it looked like that I was supposed to do, is search for a grant. So when we sat through this program, all I could think is that, this is an opportunity for the entire county, not just the fire district.
Okay.
So question, ma'am. I asked you if any other counties in the state are currently are using your services. Are any fire districts or other special districts currently using your services?
Yes, inside the state of Nevada.
Outside of Nevada, not in Nevada.
That is correct. Correct. And I would like to correct the record. We are Nevada based. Joe Vecchio, who's accompanied me, is retired 30 years with the DEA. That's why we started our operations on the East Coast. Just the referrals that we had out there. But we are Nevada based.
I agree. It's a great program. I think it needs to be looked into a little deeper. And I just don't think right now is the right time for us. I think we really have our hands full with what we have already. And
I agree.
I just think we need to look into this more.
We need to look at what it can provide and so forth, like you said.
And maybe down the road, we could hire it to do this, plus write grants. I don't know. So, we just need to take a closer look. I certainly appreciate your presentation and talking to us, and maybe you could work down the road with the finance director and giving her a little more information.
Yes.
And we can go forward.
We look forward to continuing the conversation.
And
right.
The reason for some of my questioning, I'd like references. I would like to be able, and I don't have to, Alicia or whoever could. I would like to be able to talk to others that have used it to see, okay, is it where and what we want to go to?
So thank you very much for your presentation.
I appreciate your time. Yeah, thank you.
And we'll go forward that way. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so we will move on to item B, discussion update. Update of grant quarterly reports for the period of April 2026 to June 2026. Presented by Cora Gabby.
Cora is out of the office today.
Okay. Well, some of these grants have a quarter ending date June 30, and the term of the grant ends June 30, 2026. One thing I would like to mention is at the bottom of the page for each grant, it says achievements in the current quarter and progress toward overall required grant goals. There are a lot of vacancies in these pages. I'd like to compliment Lori Romero. She does put the information on this page. She says exactly what happens, how many meals are served.
Lori's very thorough.
Yeah, she's very thorough. And that's what I would like to see for every grant. And again, this is a lot of work for everybody who does these grants. But that's my request. I would like to see all of that information. Now, Desi also has some information. For example, she's able to purchase blood pressure cuffs, water bottles. She mentioned, progress is on track for the meeting the grant goals. But I'd like to see a little bit more information about what the grant is achieving, what we're accomplishing, and what's happening with each grant. That would be my request. Did you have any other?
I was the same thing. I looked at the comments on stuff. And, yeah, it just knowing, and I do have, you might be able to answer the question on the sniffing and stuff. So is the duck pond all down?
We, yes and no. We are still waiting for the, as-built, record
Rec Brothers.
from Rec Brothers. Unfortunately, because we're still waiting on those, we have been notified by SNFLMA, but that they will not pay for that.
They're not gonna, they say they're not gonna pay for it.
They're not gonna pay for the last, anything that hasn't been completed, that was not completed and provided to us by, 15th. They are not.
So the as-built drawings.
So the as-built drawings, all that work that they did, that is still being done and completed, that we have requested, that,
So I guess here's my thoughts. I remember right before I became a commissioner, the commission voted to supplement the duck pond because there wasn't sufficient enough money. So what I would say, let's plan, if we're able to, the magic fingers finances, that 200,000 or whatever it was that was supplemented to cover the above costs is going to cover the costs that went past the 15. And SNFLMA can just deal with it. So that would be my approach to it.
Well, one thing I would like to see talking about SNFLMA is I would like to see a final accounting for the Jack Taylor Park, Ruth Miners Memorial Park, because we had quite a number of issues, and it wasn't this administration, but I would like to see a final accounting of those. With the duck pond, the original grant, if I recall correctly, was a little over $1 million. JCR was paid a considerable amount of money. We pulled their bond for 900,000 and something. And so my recollection is it's going to cost the county about $400,000, the duck pond. And so I would like to see when we get to that point, a final accounting. My understanding is Jack Taylor, Ruth Miners Memorial is closed out. So I'd like to know where we stand on that. The railroad had their kickoff meeting on July 22nd, which is beyond the time period of these reports. And we only have until the end of 2027 for that one, for that branch, and also for the event center at the fairgrounds. That's another one that I'd like to find out what's happening.
So that one, we got the approval on the modification.
Right.
SNFLMA.
Right.
Have we started moving on those things we said we would do?
Yeah, we had a meeting with Michelle and SNFLMA on Thursday. This past, where are we? Yesterday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
No, it was last Thursday. Anyway, what we discussed and what was done is part of one of the deliverables for the fairgrounds has already been completed. That is the railings for the horse races that need to be done. They were concerned about the repairs that were done to the bleachers. We wanted to make sure that we were aware that SNFLMA wasn't paying for the repairs to the bleachers, as that wasn't available. And of course, we needed them repaired for safety reasons for the horse races. And that the rebuild is what SNFLMA was paying for. So we were aware of that. So we do have, that has started moving forward. There's progress. I believe that what they calculated out was overall for the entire project, I think we're like 35% on that.
And someone has been identified as the lead to push those actions forward on what's still outstanding.
Yeah,
Yes.
now that we are working on all of those, Cole is still assisting, helping us obtain the information and everything that we need. There was, we still have 3 outstanding projects with SNCLMA. We spoke with them and I made sure that they were made aware that the Heritage Park, I requested that we divide the land acquisitions for Heritage Park into 2 processes because the property we're looking at buying, the family has received numerous bids, numerous offers to purchase the property. And of course, we are working on it, but they would like us to move a little quicker. And so we've been tied by the acquisition of the school district property. In regards to that, the SNCLMA wanted to do it all together. They have now agreed to let us move at separate paces for this. And I also spoke with them in the event that there is an issue with obtaining the school district land because it was a land grant to the school district from the BLM. And if the BLM decides that we cannot take ownership of that property and turn it into a park, then we would only have the purchased property and what the county already owns. So I've asked them to allow us to kind of separate these and work at them differently so that we can, because the majority of the existing pre-plan design for the park, most of the park, the community park, so children's, dog, all of those kinds of things, the bike park, the tennis courts, all of that really is on the purchased property and the county's property. What is predominantly designed to go on the land coming from the school district are ball fields, cleaning up in fact, the spot where the fire pit is right now, it's proposed to have a fire pit. So, so that's where we are with that. So some parking, a grassy area with a community fire pit area, but basically for bonfires and whatnot, and then ball fields. The splash pad is right there with the swimming pool area. So that's right there. So that's all, like I said, that's all the majority of the community park area that is clearly identified as a park would be the purchased property and the county property.
So question on that, and this may be a question for SNCLMA. If it's the case that the majority of the school's property would be the ball fields, which the expectation, I think, from this committee is that the school will take responsibility for maintenance of the ball fields. Can we proceed forward to build that portion of it on and not transfer the land?
I can ask that, but
we should.
But where we were was they said that the agreement that we had was that it was going to be a 50-acre park.
Yeah.
And the school district has already agreed, and that's already been taken care of for them to maintain the ball field areas.
Yeah.
But if the county doesn't take possession of the property, then there's all kinds of other things about, well, why are we spending taxpayer dollars on a school district field?
But
and everything.
I'm not sure under SNCLMA that is precluded. That it's still a park for essentially county residents.
Except for the first phase included financing for the acquisition of acquisitions. And that's the first phase where that $22 million came from, was all the acquisition of both properties. So we would have to change
we could do a change of scope.
A change of scope, because we wouldn't be acquiring the school district property.
And so that would be a question we can ask of Michelle. If it's possible that we not acquire the school district portion of it, that we just proceed forward with this through a change of scope. But we would still continue to build the park out the way as planned. It would just remain on school district property. It would be the same type of situation as when we get a grant for the railroad, which is technically on city property. And we don't have to acquire it, even though we are the ones applying for the grant. They might not go for it, but
They might not. I know that Michelle was talking about wanting to have, if we have to do a change in scope, changing it to where we are not doing that.
The ball
2 acres, the ball field.
Yeah.
And that we are only doing the park. Where they have some issues is because part of the money that has already been spent has been to do the testing and everything for the fire pit and what we need to clean up. That by changing the scope and not purchasing or not getting that land from the school district, the county may find itself in the position of needing to pay back the amount of money that was used to do this testing and everything at Sniffle.
Question,
Yes, sir.
or should I say comment? First of all, the recipients to the finances for which we were going to purchase this land, I do believe I read the contract, and it said at any point in time, if they did receive an offer, that they are obligated to take that. So I want to make it known that if they've turned down any offers at this point, the county's not liable for that. That's not our gig.
No, that is not what they're saying. They really would prefer to come to do this with the county. That is their preference. They have received offers, and it's just that because this is drug out so long, they're now contemplating, because they would really like to have this land, the situation with this land resolved before any health changes with the owner.
yeah.
Okay, but either way, the way the contract reads, we are not obligated to their loss of revenues because they could have sold it. At any time they could have sold it, we would have pulled back our financing and paid for what has been done to current back to Sniplama. We could have moved forward. So with that out of the way and moving forward with this, I strongly feel that this project, like Mr. Chacha keeps reminding us, should be brought to the public to see if it still wants to go forward.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an option for anyone that has the capability to get it on, if we can get it on the ballot.
Can't get it on this.
Can't get it on
Can't
this
get it
ballot.
on November.
No.
And so because of the timelines on this, we have to make a decision then without being able to put it on the ballot.
Yeah.
We've got to make the decision either to move forward or cut losses and back away from the project. Now, there is a kind of a midpoint where we can do something short of getting it on the ballot, and that is do another public meeting at the convention center and ask for comments again.
Yeah. And to date, on this report, it says we've only spent $68,000.
Yeah.
So that would not be.
It's not a huge amount of money, and the money we've spent so far, I don't believe we would have to pay back as long as it was spent appropriately. Because we can cut and close out a project at any point with Snippleman.
So that would be a future agenda item.
Yeah. But at this point, it's a timeline issue.
It's a timeline
It's a
issue.
timeline issue, and I'm assuming all the information been sent to Snippleman to be able to proceed forward with the, yes.
There's a process for getting the appraisal, because we've got to go through a federal process. Michelle said that it could take 6 months to get a federal appraisal completed.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where we're looking at, but we do have everything we need for the purchase side. We're still needing authorization from the BLM on the school district acquisition side.
So what I would recommend, let's proceed forward with the route you were going. But if someone could ask Michelle that question, can we leave the school district property under the school district and still proceed with the full project being built out? Because school district is technically, they're technically a county entity.
And I don't recall seeing that fund right there, a different.
Yeah, they're a different government entity. They're part of the county, but they are a different government entity.
It's, and I say this because I tested those waters in one of the other categories. If you remember back, the Forest Service put in for a grant to do weed treatments across all boundaries. And people told me that you can't do that. Guess what? You could. And so unless it's specifically precluded that we can't do that, then there may be an ability to leave it as school district property.
So question. So the land that the school district has at this point, is it enough to put the ball fields on? Can we rescope this project pretty much to encompass those ball fields?
We wouldn't have to do a rescope.
Yeah, the ball fields are already part of the scope there.
Yeah.
3 ball fields are a deliverable in this project, along with the grassed and treed area in front of the school and that fire pit. Those are all deliverables already in this project. We wouldn't need to rescope to do them.
The only question,
we would have to rescope if we don't do them.
Okay, so I guess what I'm getting at is if the lower part of the park, the properties that we're to be purchasing from the Lemich, those properties were not part of this project. We just put the allocations to improving the land that we already currently have, the ball fields and that stuff there. Is that a possibility?
The ownership of the land that the ball fields will be on is a question. Could we do a change in scope that would just do the ball fields, but leaving it on school property? Or do we need to acquire the school property to do that? Any one of those alternatives could be a change of scope or a downsize on the project.
Yeah, if we don't acquire the school district property, we will need a change of scope.
Yeah.
But that's if we don't choose. If I ask if we can leave it school district property and leave the ball fields in the project. In that's already the scope that's already drawn, and the only aspect we are removing from it is taking possession, ownership of that property.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. But the Lemich property and the property that is already owned by White Pine is the predominant community park. I mean, the ball fields,
they're very specific to
are specific to the school district. Sure, could we do other things and rent out those to, tournaments and whatnot? Yes, we can do that because, that would be, but I think that would be a different kind of agreement, and we'd definitely be going through legal for that, because can we rent out and make money off of a property we don't own? I don't know.
No, I kind of think we're going the other direction, because my thoughts were leaving the rest of the park out, leaving the Lemich property out, and going forward with any kind of BLM agreements with the school district and putting the ball fields in and putting anything else in around the school that we already own the property for.
Well, that's a good question. That's a completely different project. The scope of this project, and I will tell you this right now, Sniplama and Michelle have said, the scope of this project is not baseball fields, not ball fields. The scope of this project is a community park. And if
we say, hey, we want to change the scope and we don't want to buy the land from Lenich and build a community park, I think that we'll get nothing.
They may deny it, pull it.
I don't believe that they will give us a change in scope that changes this from a community park to 3 ball fields, a splash pad and a burn pit.
Well, that sounds a little better for our community than a park right next to a truck stop. Either way, I guess that's personal opinion.
You know, I've done Snifflema for a long time, and this is something that we need to be thinking about on this. Let me just tell you, I hate politics. I hate politics because I hate turnover and inconsistency. And as we deal with Snifflema, we have to be more deliberative when we develop these projects. We have to, because I think right now we have grand ideas and we haven't thought everything all the way through in the past. We've got to be much more deliberative about these and think about a lot of this. I'm going to be blunt. Long ago, when this first came up, I did not support the park. I didn't like where it was and everything else. However, there are a lot of people in town that really want this park and they want the different pieces of it. And so I've changed my mind about that. And right now, my focus is making sure as we go through, we got to go through the steps. And timing is of the essence. At some point, we're going to have to look at designs. And the designs are probably going to change. And we just need to make sure that whatever design we come out with is going to be the lowest maintenance and easiest to take care of at the lowest cost to the public.
Yeah.
And getting back to the fairgrounds, who is it that's spearheading this now? Because my understanding was we paid a lot of money to an architect a couple of years ago. And now that the event center has been eliminated and the scope has been redesigned, do we have plans that a project manager could take over? Or is the county managing this project? Or
Predominantly the county is managing this project. Cole's been doing a lot of work on it. I don't think there's a single person in the county that I can say, hey, this is the person who is managing this. Cole has done a lot of it. Cora is doing the Snifflema management side, and I'm getting my feet underneath it because I think I found out about this 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was ignored for a long time.
Well, it's not the only one that's been ignored. I've also, as of last week, also found out about a walkway, a trail that's they're wanting in it's not McGill, it's not Ruth. There's a trail.
Oh, Baker,
the Baker Trail.
Yeah.
That I found out about just a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, oh, and but we are going to have to go. We're trying to find out what to do. Not BLM, NDOT is wanting us to reopen that up and go out to bid again, and I don't believe that we can. Rec Brothers were the only ones who submitted for that, and I don't believe that they will honor their price because so much has changed. It's been 1.5 years, almost 2 years since that was done, and now it looks like that trail will be 1.2 to 1.3 million for us to do, as opposed to the million it was originally bid at.
So as we move forward on Snifflema, what we need to do, what we have to do is, as we put projects in, we have to identify a very specific project lead. Regardless of who it is, it's the person best suited to manage that project.
Right.
Because we can't, because that's what's happening at Fairgrounds. We've got a whole bunch of people with their fingers in it.
Okay. Yeah.
And not a single person that's spearheading.
So in the future, we need an agenda item to identify
Project lead.
the project lead for that. And also what we're going to do with Baker. If NDOT is seeing that it's more money as designed, we may have to go back, redesign it, scale it back.
Yeah.
So it fits the budget.
So The Baker project, if I'm to the understanding correctly of what Baker was talking about, there is that trail is going to encroach upon a new area of the town. They don't have the infrastructure in yet for that area of the town. So we definitely, before we move too far forward with Bakers, we need to get a hold of those folks to make sure where they're at and they're standing with this trail.
Yeah, and we are looking at, I mean, this is a project that is being headed up by the same company that did the pond.
Civil science,
that's it. And they know that it's been sitting, but the grant money that we received from NDOT has already been received, and some money has already been spent for Baker. Baker is not a SNP. This Baker.
No, it's a different.
Okay.
It's different. And so money has been spent, money has been received. We are going to need to move forward with this in one fashion or another, what we're going to do. But that was part of the conversation with them. They're the ones that Cora and I met with yesterday. And that was part of the discussion is where is this? What are we doing with it? And how do we move forward? Because NDOT does require us to put this back out for bid and get new bids on this project and looking at costs. We had $200,000 of White Pine money, and they gave us $880,000. I think that they did do an increase once already. Can we get more money from NDOT? I don't know. But Civil Science said that they could definitely look into that, see if there was more money available.
So I'm assuming this is a paved bike trail, right?
Paved everything trail.
Yeah. Anyone that's ever gone to Bryce Canyon National Park, you drive through a canyon called Red Canyon. There's a bike trail off the side of it, a paved bike trail.
Mm-hmm.
I was project lead on that one. Paved bike trails scare the hell out of me. That one caused the Forest Service significant problems in the future with washouts and damage. And we need to make sure, this is a question for road department, once we build those things, because then we have to maintain them, and do we have the right equipment and skill set to do paved bike trails, because they're not the same as highways.
because Baker just experienced a lot of flooding.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a consideration.
Yeah. It's something, it's nice to do, but we definitely have got to make sure that we think what's going to happen down the road, and then immediately the price is going to go up. So we got to figure out if we can get the additional monies over that overage.
Well, we definitely want to make sure that in future, if we're looking at any projects, that before we move forward on taking money for them, that we have these kinds of discussions and we find out if we can maintain it, because here we are sitting with money and anticipated project that needs to be completed. And now we're asking questions about whether or not we're going to be able to maintain it in the future.
Right.
Years ago, a question came up to pave Success Moon Road.
Oh, dear.
No, no way in hell. Anyway.
Okay, all right. Any other questions from the board or comments about the grants? Okay. All right, then we'll move on to the second public comment period. Any public comment in the room? Okay, hearing none, is there any public comment on Teams? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn in a second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Robinson to adjourn and a second from Commissioner Noriega. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned.
And that is your White Pine County Commission meeting for August 26th, 2026. A podcast version of this will be going up by about 1 o'clock today on our podcast channel. And if you have not gotten a hold of our podcast channel yet, why not? You can get all of our newscasts, local news, and interviews there. So check your favorite podcast application and you will find it there. All right, we are going to take a quick break here, and then once we deal with some important messages and get caught up with some stuff, we will get back to regular programming, beginning with Rob Carson at 5 minutes past 12 o'clock. Good morning.